Hello everyone. This is extension of notches and wears. We have already discussed, and then you have seen that video of wear in practical examples have been given in earlier videos. Now here, a mathematical analysis of notches and variety of conditions we are going to see. As per the syllabus is concerned, you got notches and wears, in which we have done the classification. Discharge over rectangular and triangular notches we have already analyzed. In this session, we'll be discussing about trapezoidal, Sipolity, and some other relevant things like velocity of approach and end contraction we'll be discussing in this particular session. Okay, just to revise quickly, this is a rectangular notch wherein we have already done the analysis. The final expression for actual discharge through rectangle notch is 2 by 3 CD L root 2Z H raised to 3 by 2, where L is the length of the crust there. H is the head above the crust. This is crust. Above the crust, whatever head is there, that is H. So knowing the H and then L of the sharp crested weir and this coefficient of discharge, if it is known, we can calculate the discharge. This is for rectangular notch. For a triangular notch, a similar expression is there here. If you look at the expression, the final expression is having 8 by 15 tan theta by 2 root 2z h raised to 5 by 2, right? If you have to have actual discharge, you have to multiply by a CD, coefficient of discharge. This is theoretical discharge. Herein theta by 2 is half the crust angle and h is the head over the bottom of the V notch, which is called head over the crust once again, right? That is H. Okay, with this idea we'll go further. Yeah, we'll solve a small problem wherein water flows through a triangular right angled weir first. Okay, it flows through right angled triangular notch first, and then over a rectangular weir of 1 meter crust width. Though it is said that way, it is length of the crust is 1 meter. The discharge coefficients of triangular and rectangular weirs are, okay, for triangular it is 0.6, for rectangular CD is 0.7. If the depth of the water over triangular weir is 0.36, 360 mm, that is to say 0.36 meters, find the depth of the water over the rectangular weir. Okay, it is simple, though it looks quite lengthy. What you have to do here is the discharge over rectangular notch is equated to discharge over triangular notch. Expression for rectangular notch, CD with the suffix R, rectangular coefficient, then head over the rectangular coefficient. Here CD with the suffix T, that is coefficient of discharge for triangular notch, and head over the triangular notch. So if you substitute, the only unknown that we have is head over the rectangular notch. All these values are given: 0.7, 0.6, 0.36, and if you simplify, h raised to 3 by 2 equal to 0.05332, and raising on both sides by 2 by 3, you will get that head over the rectangular notch is 0.142 meters. That's how to solve the problem. Though the problem looks lengthy, it is easy for one to solve, right? Okay, next. Okay, end contraction means what? Because of the streamlines, the flow from the edges, I'll show you here, the flow from the edges jumps out slightly inwards as shown in the figure. Hence, the effective cross-sectional area through the flow occurs is reduced. What it means is, see here, channel is there, and that is the width of the crust. We call it as length of the crust L. And then when this is what is happening. The discharge, when it comes, there is an obstruction here. Because of that, it takes slightly a curved shape there, reducing the effective cross-sectional area through which the discharge comes out is slightly reduced at the edges. L will not be fully effective, or L into H will not be a cross-sectional area through which the discharge is occurring. So now what to do? So effective cross-sectional area is reduced 0.2 times H. Why? Because it is like this. For every end contraction, the crust length is reduced by 10% of the head over the crust. Means head over the crust is now H. For one, you have to reduce it by 10%, means 0.1 H. The length is reduced by 0.1 H. We have got in rectangular notch two end contractions, one here, one there. Because of that, the effective width is reduced by 0.2 times H. 10% for every end contraction. There are two, because of that it will be 0.2 H. Hence, the discharge over rectangular notch becomes 2 by 3 CD. Instead of L, it is reduced L minus 0.2 H, otherwise root 2Z H raised to 3 by 2. This is the effect of end contraction. Now if you have, for two end contractions it is like this. Suppose there is only one end contraction, in the sense here this edge is not there, it is free, right? And only one edge is there. Rectangle is so placed that here there is no end contraction. It is straight away coming like that. Here there is an end contraction, so it will be L minus 0.1 H. Suppose you have got notches like this, multiple notches. One is adjacent to the weir wall itself. The another notch is in between. So this will have 2 and this will have 1. Because of that, there are 3 end contractions. That's why it is L minus 0.3 times H. Okay. Here we have a Cipolliti notch and trapezoidal notches. We'll see. Okay, I have written this earlier itself. Anyway, trapezoidal notch is with a shape as a trapezium with the base crust length smaller than the top width, obviously, right? You can have the other way around also, but generally we have like this. Now you can see that this rectangle, trapezoidal shape can be taken as one rectangle having a base crust as L, this much. This I have taken, and these two triangular portions put together, I'll plus it, right? One half on this side, one half on that the other side, with an angle theta by 2 on this side, theta by 2 on this, making this as a triangular notch. So discharge over trapezoidal notch can be treated as a rectangle notch plus a triangular notch. So correspondingly, I have written the discharge equations: 2 by 3 CD 1 L root 2 Z H raised to 3 by 2 plus for triangular notch 8 by 15 CD 2 root 2 Z tan theta by 2 H raised to 5 by 2. Now if you treat CD 1 and 2 as same as CD, then the final expression becomes like this. So this is general typical trapezoidal notch. Okay. Here I have Cipolliti notch. What is said here, just check. I'll just erase this off so that no confusion. Cipolliti notch is a special case of trapezoidal notch. Okay, it looks like a trapezium only. What is the speciality? You can observe here the side slope is so arranged that it is 1 horizontal to 4 vertical, 1 horizontal to 4 vertical, or tan theta by 2 is equal to 1 by 4, or theta by 2 becomes approximately 14 degrees. So if your side of a trapezoidal section is 14 degrees, then it is called as Cipolliti notch. Why so? We'll see here. Here, effect of end contraction is overcome by the additional area of inclined sides. Means because of the end contraction, we used to say that the L is reduced by 0.1 times the H for every end contraction, which we have just now seen, right? Now here, that whatever reduction is there, that will be overcome by this widening. That is what is said. Okay, now when you write, just see here, let us treat it as rectangle and triangle. Okay, 2 by 3 CD root 2Z, and this because of the end contraction, it is L minus 0.2 times H. 0.2 is 2 by 10 or 1 by 5, H raised to 3 by 2, plus this triangle is 8 by 15 CD root 2Z tan theta by 2, H raised to 5 by 2. Now if you expand, the first part is anyways 2 by 3 CD L root 2Z H raised to 3 by 2 plane. This minus 1 by 5 multiplied by 2 by 3 becomes 2 by 15 CD root 2Z H raised to 3 by 2. That is what the term with a negative sign. And then here, if I substitute for tan theta by 2 as 1 by 4, this also reduces to 2 by 15 CD root 2Z H raised to 5 by 2. So what happens is these two terms cancel off. You will be left with a plain equation Q equal to 2 by 3 CD L root 2Z H raised to 3 by 2, which is an equation for suppressed rectangular weir. Suppressed in the sense these end contractions are suppressed. How it is suppressed? If you make the width or length of the crust equal to width of the channel itself, then there is no fear of end contraction. Okay, so Cipolliti notch is a special case of trapezoidal notch. Fine. The side slopes are 1 vertical to 4 horizontal, making 14 degrees with a vertical. In Cipolliti notch, the effect of end contraction of a rectangular notch is matched by the widening of the side slope. Means whatever contraction is there, that is balanced by the widening. The discharge through Cipolliti notch is given by the same equation as that of a rectangular notch. That is that. That's how it is. That is Cipolliti notch. Okay. Okay. Here we'll be talking about velocity of approach. Now you can just see here there is a channel, right? Actual flow inside the channel is having width B, full width of the channel is B, and then the flow is coming right up to this level. Here also there is a flow. If this height is Z, height of the crust, then the flow is coming with this much of cross-sectional area behind the notch. Behind the notch, the flow is coming with cross-sectional area of the flow as B into H plus Z. Right? How much is coming out? The same discharge, whatever is coming out here, the same discharge is coming out or flowing through over here. Right? Okay, rectangular notch. We have 2 by 3 CD L root 2Z H raised to 3 by 2 for suppressed condition. In the sense there are no end contractions here. This end is pushed up to this end is pushed up to this. So to say this L is equal to B means there is no question of end contraction. It straight away flows as it is. Right? Then we call it as suppressed condition. Now velocity of approach VA is given by the discharge Q divided by this cross-sectional area B into H plus Z. That is the velocity with which the flow is occurring in the channel, velocity of approach. Then head of velocity of approach will be VA squared by 2Z. Right? Once you know VA squared by 2Z is HA. Now the Q, the discharge, can be written with velocity of approach as 2 by 3 CD L root 2Z H plus HA raised to 3 by 2 minus HA raised to 3 by 2. Okay, here the velocity, just because of the static head of H, is given by root 2gh. Now look here, if you have got only this much of head, then the head would have been, the velocity head would have been root 2gh. Okay, but in the notches, the fluid is already moving with a velocity which is referred to as approach velocity. So approach velocity is equal to Q divided by B into H plus Z. Hence the equation is as given below. Already we have seen this. So H plus HA raised to 3 by 2 minus HA raised to 3 by 2. Already we have this, right? So head has to vary from this HA to H plus HA. That's how this equation is. Okay. So whenever velocity of approach has to be considered, this would be the equation. But how to actually use this in analyzing the situation, we'll see in one of the numerical problems. Okay, here there is a numerical problem. Water is flowing in rectangular channel of 1 meter wide and 0.75 meter deep. Right, the channel has got 1 meter width and 0.75 meter deep. Find the discharge over rectangular weir of crust length 600 mm. Okay, if head over the crust of the weir is 200 mm and water flows over the weir from the channel, so take CD equal to 0.62. Consider velocity of approach. This is what is different, right? We'll see here. Now whatever data that they have given, if I try to draw it, the diagram will be something like this. The channel is having full width of 1 meter and the depth of the flow, it is said flowing in a rectangular channel of 1 meter wide and 0.75 meter deep. Okay, the discharge over rectangular weir of crust length 600 mm, here cut notch is 0.6 or L is equal to 0.6. If head over the crust is 200 mm, that is this head over the crust is 0.2 meters and water flows over the weir from the channel, take CD equal to 0.62. Here they have not mentioned about Z, the height of the crust. Because of that I can say that whatever 0.75 meter is given, it is full depth. Otherwise the channel height may be different, the height of the water may be different, there may be a situation something there. So whatever data is there, that you have to depict in the form of a sketch, then the things will be more clear. Here L is 0.6, H is 0.2, right? Now how to calculate the discharge? Anyway, if I want to calculate velocity of, inclusive of velocity of approach, my expression is this: Q equal to 2 by 3 CD L root 2Z H plus HA raised to 3 by 2 minus HA raised to 3 by 2. But here I know H, this one 0.2, I know L 0.6, but Z is 9.81, but this HA, velocity of approach or head, because of velocity head is not known. Now here what is done is, with a plain equation of rectangular notch, first of all I will calculate the discharge without considering velocity of approach. Now Q1 is equal to 2 by 3 CD L root 2Z H raised to 3 by 2. Plain substitution I will do. L is equal to 0.6, G equal to 9.81, H as 0.2, and simplify, I'll get Q1 equal to 0.983, 0.0983 meter cube per second. It should have been meter cube per second. It cannot be meter per second. So it is meter cube per second. That is the discharge. Now, once you know the discharge, I can calculate velocity of approach. Okay, velocity of approach is given by the Q divided by B, the total B, you can see channel width, and this height, that is 0.75, right? So Z plus H or Z plus H is 0.75. So if I consider that using this discharge there, right, 0.1311 meter per second becomes velocity of approach. Now head, because of the velocity of approach, is VA squared by 2Z. It is 8.756 into 10 raised to minus 4 meters. Now you have to substitute that into this equation and calculate. Now if you calculate that way, it comes out to be 0.09887 meter cube per second. 9887, slightly increased. Now using this you can once again calculate the velocity of approach. There may be slight change, and then calculate HA, and then once again if you calculate this particular value of Q2 normalizes or comes to a stagnant value without any change, and there we can stop. At least 2 iterations are a must. Here I have got only one more. If you do, you will realize that it is 0.09887 itself. Only thing is, with this you have to go there, calculate velocity of approach, slightly changed value, HA slightly changed value, substitute that there, and you will find out again revised value of Q. And interestingly, it becomes the same ultimately without much of change. So that is velocity of approach. Why velocity of approach comes into action, we have already seen here, because it is running with the full width. Now we have seen this also. Okay, now the effect of error in measuring head on the discharge. Let us see what it actually means. The expression for discharge in rectangular notch is proportional to h raised to 3 by 2. Yes, because Q is equal to 2 by 3 CD L into h raised to 3 by 2, right? So that is rectangular notch, which with h as the head over the crust. Now any error in measuring this head h causes corresponding change in the discharge. Fine. As analyzed below, for every 1% of the error in head causes 1.5% of the error in discharge in rectangular notch. We'll see how it is. Q rectangle 2 by 3 CD L root 2Z h raised to 3 by 2. This I know, and you also know it. Okay. Now what is done is differentiate Q with respect to this h. dq by dh, if I do, all these are constants, leave them, right? H raised to 3 by 2 will be 3 by 2 h raised to half. Fine. Okay. Now what we want is dq by q, or the ratio of discharge to change in discharge to discharge, right? So what I do is I'll divide the equation by the other, dq. Okay, this equation if you call it as equation 2, this if you call it as 2, and then if you call it as 1, what I have done here is the equation number 2 divided by equation number 1. So dq remains as it is, dh goes on the other side, this q comes below. Okay, then this 2 by 3, 2 by 3 gets cancelled, this 3 by 2 remains as it is, 3 by 2, h raised to half, the dh, okay. Now this h raised to 3 by 2 is below, so because of that what happens is this is 1.5 dh by h, because h raised to half, h raised to 1 and a half. So here ultimately what we get is dq by q is equal to 1.5 times dh by h. Now if you want it in percentage, you can multiply by 100, right, over here, and here also 100. Now what this means is, you can just observe, if I substitute for dh by h as 1, this equation comes out to be equal to dq by q equal to, I'll write it here, dq by q is equal to, I'll substitute dh by h as 1. So this becomes simply 1.5. Means what? Percentage. So this statement holds good now. That is, for every 1% of the error in head causes 1.5% of the error in discharge. Right? Now, if we take triangular notch, you can start off with the equation q triangular is equal to 8 by 15 cd root 2z h raised to 5 by 2. Exactly the same analysis you do. You can differentiate that equation by with respect to h, dq by dh you calculate, call it as equation 2, divide equation 2 by 1, simplify, and what you get, interestingly, is similar analysis gives for every 1% of the error in head, that is for rectangular notch, causes 2.5% of the error in discharge in triangular notch. Because it is h raised to 5 by 2, if you remember. Here it is h raised to 3 by 2. 3 by 2, because of that it is 1.5. So the conclusion is, you should be very careful as far as head over the V notch is concerned, because it will be making an error of 2.5%. Right? So you should be extremely careful when you are taking a head on V notch compared to rectangular notch, because more error will be involved in discharge calculations. Okay. So similarly, dq by q is equal to 2.5 dh by h for triangular notch. Okay, we have done that. Now let us see a problem. Numerical problems will help you in understanding that theory in a much better manner. I feel so. So we'll solve a problem here. A rectangular notch 400 mm long is used for measuring discharge of 0.03 meter cube per second. An error of 1 millimeter was made while measuring the head over the notch. Calculate percentage error in discharge. Error in discharge given CD equal to 0.6. Now the discharge is given, right? The rectangular notch 400 mm, L is given, alright, head is not given, it has to be calculated, right? Let us do that. Okay, q equal to 2 by 3 cd L root 2z h raised to 3 by 2. So if I substitute L as 0.4, you have to do this that way. This is there, 0.4. Right, h is not there, q is this discharge has to be put there. So if you simplify, you will be getting h raised to 3 by 2 equal to 0.04233. Now with this, by raising on both the sides 2 by 3, h will be equal to 0.1215. In millimeters it will be 121.5 in millimeters, right? Now, but they have said that it is 1 millimeter is the error. Okay. Now, if I remember that equation, delta Q by Q is equal to 1.5 delta H by H, or dH by H. Now, what is the error that is made here? It is said 0.001 or 1 mm, and this head is 0.1215, and if I substitute Q as 0.03 and simplify for delta Q by Q, it is 1.235%. Calculate percent error, not actual discharge error. So this becomes 1.235% of error. Okay. This can also be calculated considering, look at the percentage of error made here. It is 1 mm in 121.5. What is the percentage of error? Now this, if you calculate into 100, if I do, right, you will be getting percentage of the error. Now if I calculate that, let me calculate and then see. 100 divided by 121.5 will give you 82.3, right? Will give you 82.3%, means 0.823% error, right? 0.823, that is the percent of error. Now for this, if you multiply by 1.5, you will get 1.235. If you multiply this by, because it is 1.5 times, you end up with this value, right? Of course it is 0.2 only you have to take, so that you will get 1.235%. Okay.